How to switch careers or switch sector. I am going to be answering how to with 4 things to factor in to make switching career a real success and for the process to be as smooth and connected as possible. If you are trying to find out how to switch your career, switch sector in a really successful way, then you are in the right place. Before I start, I'm Judy Bullymore. I'm a global interview coach. I'm an executive CV and resume writer, and I'm an empowerment and confidence coach as well. So I work with lots of people who are switching careers, and it's usually because they have got to a stage where they just have to. It's like they've reached a decision where not feeling lit up, not feeling enthused, not feeling passionate is no longer an option. They can't imagine being in a career that doesn't provide them with a forward direction. Often people are in toxic working environments, or they're just sick of not living to their full career potential. So it's quite important that the next step that you have, if you're anything like my clients, that it's a really aligned step that represents positivity, a positive step forward in life and in your career. And in order to do that, in order to switch and kind of be in a position that's a position of strength, requires these 4 things. It's kind of fundamental that you have these things in place. So I'm going to take you through them in turn. Number 1, it's feeling really connected to yourself. Yes, you can switch career or you can switch sector because it kind of makes sense on paper. It's like, oh, well, I've got experience in this, which means that I might be able to do that. So, I'll just go into that. What I would do is, before making that decision, give yourself the time to connect truly to yourself so you understand what you really, really want. And it's not something that you've been swayed into by other people, or it's because that's what you feel like you should do or you have to do. In order to attract what you want, you have to be clear on what you want first. So do you really want this switch? Do you really want this new chapter in your life? Because if there's any doubt, then that will act as a saboteur to the process of you attracting the role or career that you really, really want. So it's really important that you have that difficult conversation with yourself so that you know that this is your path. This is the path that you truly want. And to do that, it requires you to just strip back a bit, strip back from expectation, from fear, and to go inwards and ask yourself, ask your heart what it desires. Because it's not always like a logical thing. It's about a fusion between your heart and your mind when you're making a career decision. Because the last thing that you want is to go into a position that you didn't really want. It wasn't even something that you just thought that you had to, or that it would make sense to do that. You don't want to waste any time. So number 1, just connect into yourself. And if that means journaling, if that means meditating, if that means speaking to somebody who has your best interests at heart and knows you really well, then do so. Or speak to an objective person like a career coach like myself. Number 2, know the sector. Know the role that you're going into. Don't go in with your eyes closed. Educate yourself on what it takes to thrive in that sector. So if you've got one in mind, you've got a new career in mind, or a new sector in mind, then you want to be knowing, like, who are the key players, who are the key kind of organizations that are at the forefront of this industry. What is the trajectory of that sector? How might it change in the next few years? How has it changed? What do they need from a strategic and a global point of view? What do they need their staff force, their staff teams, the leaders, the industry leaders of that particular sector, what type of thinking is required? What type of skills are needed to take that forward, to make sure that it's future-proof? Because when you go into a new sector or a new kind of career, the aim would be that not only do you enjoy doing the work within it, but that you want to grow with it. So understanding kind of the context in which it sits is really important. And you can do that by speaking to the right people. You could reach out and have informational conversations with, leaders and experts within that field or within a particular organisation. You could check out the experiences of staff, perhaps on Glassdoor, or an organisation or a website that records kind of feedback. You could look at strategies and policies that link to that particular sector. Just know your stuff before you go into it, if you don't already. Then it's about step 3 is about positioning yourself really strongly to apply and interview for the position that you want. So this obviously depends on what you want to go into and how different or radical it is from what you're in now. But do you have relevant experience and skills, or transferable skills and experience that leans towards this role? Or is it going to require retraining? Is it going to require kind of demonstrating that you've got the skills to learn this new sector or this new career? And once you've decided what they're going to be looking for, what you need then is the techniques and the tools that are going to position you really, really strongly. So you're not going to want like a generic CV or resume that just shows all the experience that you've had. That's not specific and hasn't been curated and created with this new sector and this new employer and this new opportunity in mind. What I would suggest is that you build a new one from scratch and don't kind of regurgitate what you've used before. I would align all of your documents to this new sector so that it speaks as though you've created it just for that employer that you're applying for. If you're not familiar with LinkedIn, I would ensure that you use the power of LinkedIn to reinforce your passion and your alignment to this new sector and this new career that you want. You could be posting, you could be following, the key players, the key organizations. You could be connecting with people within the new sector that you really want to get to know more and for them to get to know you. You could be researching using LinkedIn. But just how you would align a new kind of CV and resume and cover letter that really explains why you've got all the skills and the attributes for this career change and this new position, you'd want your LinkedIn profile to align to that too. So, you want to align all of your tools to the new opportunities that you wish to seek. And again, you want to be prepared for that interview. They're going to ask questions about why you have chosen this particular sector and why the change. So you're going to want a technique that allows you to play to your strengths. And if you don't have a strong interview technique already, be sure to check out mine. I have the interview story impression technique. That's for competency-based questions, such as tell me about a time when you've X, Y, and Z. And the 4-point interview success technique for non-competency questions. So questions like, why have you chosen this role? Why the career change? I've got a technique that would help you position yourself really strongly. So check out the show notes if you want to find out more about that. And finally, align your mind with your heart. And I know this sounds really wishy-washy, and this goes for applying for any job, whether it's in a new career sector, or it's a career change, or it's one that you've worked in for many, many years. If you can align all of your confidence and your self-empowerment and your self-awareness and your strengths, and you build your resilience, and you build that belief in yourself, the process of obtaining the job role that you want becomes smoother. It's hard to do one without the other. You almost need to have that really strong mindset of that connection with yourself and the most powerful version of yourself to succeed in getting the job that you want. Because the whole process of applying, whether that's submitting your applications and through the interview processes, is a real test of your self-determination. They really do put candidates through their paces these days because of the level of competition. And it's important that you're ready for that. And having a really kind of strong mindset where you really believe in yourself, you know what your strengths are, you've got that determination and you've got that resilience, is going to see you through to the finish line, which will be the job offer. And obviously beyond that, when you've actually got this new job, you're going to want to thrive in your career. So working on that mindset from now is really, really important. So just to summarize, because I know I've talked a lot, how to switch careers or switch to a new sector. Number one, connect to yourself. Understand your motivations and why you're doing this. Know your sector, do your research, know what you're getting into. Have your eyes wide open. Try and be like 3 steps ahead of and be able to anticipate what comes, what the context, what the environment, what the direction of travel is for the sector, for the career that you're entering into. Number 3, align your tools. Make sure you've got the strongest tools that position you for the roles that you want. So make sure you've got that tailored, bespoke CV, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, about section, your banner. Make sure it's all on brand to you so that you're always reinforcing that you absolutely have got what it takes to do this role. You've got all your most relevant experience laid out. You've got your most relevant successes. You've got your most relevant skills. These are the same things that you're probably going to be talking about at interview. If you've got this sorted now, before you embark in applying and interviewing, you're already going to make that process smoother. And again, have your interview techniques. Make sure you've got a technique that allows you to answer the questions that they're probably going to ask. Like, why have you chosen this role? Why have you chosen this particular position? What do you feel that you can bring? What have you got that the other candidates might not have? Where do you see yourself in 3 years' time? All of these kind of questions might be asked, and having a technique that allows you to talk about yourself in a really powerful way, in a storytelling way, in a way that's going to leave a positive, lasting impression, is going to make it so much more smoother and so much more successful that you're going to get this new kind of opportunity that you seek. Finally, align your mind. So just get that mindset right. Just, work on that confidence if you're feeling a bit low. Work on that imposter syndrome if there's part of you that feels like, can I really do this? I haven't done it before, or I haven't done it for a long time. Are they gonna see that I've got what it takes? All of that kind of stuff has the power to really sabotage your success in getting what you want. But actually, you've got everything that you need within you. It's just about making sure that your mind has caught up with that belief. So there's lots of practical things that you can do in combination to get all of this. One of the first things I'd say is just to check out my resources that are in the show notes, which help kind of guide you through this process. I also offer something called the Career Clarity Experience, and that is for people who might not be sure what their next career step is, but they know that they want to be really connected to their career path, and they want to know what they're good at and what types of careers is going to really light them up and bring back that passion. And I also have a range of services to align your tools and your techniques for getting the job that you want. So be sure to check them out. If you found this helpful, then please like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and just a lot of kind of positive vibes if you are in that process of switching career or switching sector. You can do it, but following kind of these tips are going to make the process more smoother and more enjoyable. So I hope you found that useful.